muchachos, tenemos un tiempo más para explorar un tema gramatical importante que se llama el imperfecto de subjuntivo. Así que para empezar, saca tu lápiz y también saca tu cuaderno para tomar algunos apuntes. El imperfecto de subjuntivo es una aventura que no querrás perder. Bueno, cuando estamos estudiando o pensando en el imperfecto de subjuntivo, hablando de lo esencial, tenemos que pensar en qué es el imperfecto de subjuntivo, cuándo se usa el imperfecto de subjuntivo, cómo se forma el imperfecto de subjuntivo, y es similar al presente de subjuntivo, pues ya veremos. Y el objetivo es que para el fin de la unidad ustedes puedan entender y usar el imperfecto de subjuntivo correctamente en conversación y en una forma escrita. Y las metas son así, que se expresan I can statements. I can accurately determine when the subjunctive mood is necessary. Now, a lot of you guys have already mastered this with the present subjunctive. Nevertheless, we'll be talking about the past tense. I can conjugate regular stem changing and irregular verbs in the imperfect subjunctive. I can determine when the present or imperfect subjunctive is appropriate. And then, lastly, I can accurately use C clauses using the imperfecto de subjuntivo and the condicional. So we have to remind ourselves of the condicional and also how to conjugate this imperfecto subjuntivo. And to do that, you're really going to have to remember your conjugations for the pretérito. So it just gives you a little clue as to how it's formed. So para empezar, let's put the screen up for there. ¿Qué es el imperfecto subjuntivo? Pues el imperfecto subjuntivo expresa duda, deseo y voluntad en el pasado. En el pasado está en mayúsculas y en negro porque no estamos hablando del presente. The presente de subjuntivo, if you remember, has dos verbos, dos sujetos diferentes, un que normalmente y también el verbo en la primera cláusula expresa una idea con duda, deseo o voluntad. But that's all in the presente. In the imperfecto subjuntivo, we're talking about the pasado. So I think the best way to start is just to look at a couple examples, and in the next couple videos we'll look at the forms. Here's a frase. Yo quiero que Juan venga al partido conmigo. Okay, fair enough. I want Juan to come to the game with me. Yo quiero is a present tense verb. Que Juan venga is the present subjunctive. So we have a present tense and a present tense. In English, we don't necessarily use the that in all of these sentences, and keep that in mind. Even when the the that is absent in English, we'd still use it in Espanol when we introduce a new clause. Fair enough. This should look pretty familiar. Let's use the same idea and put it in the imperfecto de subjuntivo. Yo quería que Juan viniera al partido conmigo. Okay. Yo quería, I wanted, that's in the imperfecto, que Juan viniera al partido conmigo. This viniera looks new because it is a verb. This is the imperfect subjunctive, basically. And if you can guess that comes from the verb venir, then you're in great shape. Kind of looks like vinieron, which is what it's based on. But here we go. I wanted Juan to come to the game with me. If you note in the present and in the imperfect subjunctive in English, we say to come. In the Espanol, we don't necessarily, it looks different. So just keep that in mind. Let's look at one more example before we run out of time. Es importante que nosotros estudiemos los mapas antes de explorar. It's important that we study the maps before we go exploring. It's important present. We study the maps present tense. Great. Moving on. Era importante que nosotros estudiáramos los mapas antes de explorar. It was important that we studied the maps before we went exploring. So this just gives you an idea. We're using a past tense and a past tense verb to form the imperfect subjunctive. talk more on this in